So probably the biggest news in the NBA came suddenly and unexpectedly, and that was LaMarcus Aldridge retiring due to an irregular heartbeat that he experienced, I think, earlier this week. Um, Here's the thing about LaMarcus Aldridge. LaMarcus Aldridge has been dealing with this his entire career. I remember his early days in Portland. He was dealing with this, and of course, you didn't really hear much about it in San Antonio, but definitely early in his career, you heard about this, and in at Texas, you heard about it. So the fact that he said that this was the worst and scariest it's ever been lets me know that, oh, this was serious, seeing as though you've already dealt with it. I'll say this, man. LaMarcus Aldridge, he's one of those players that were good, but just wasn't loud. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like a Tim Duncan. I'm not saying he's as good as Tim Duncan. Chill out. But what I'm saying is Tim Duncan had an incredible game. He just wasn't loud with it. Kobe had a loud game. Kevin Garnett had a loud game. KD has a loud game. And when I say loud, they score buckets at an all-time high. They're loud with it. They'll yell. LeBron James has a loud game. Steph Curry has a loud game. There's people that don't have a loud game but are sneaky or incredibly effective. They just aren't as flashy as other people, like a Tim Duncan, like LaMarcus Aldridge. LaMarcus Aldridge will go down as one of the greatest mid-range shooting bigs we've ever seen. I'm not saying he's the greatest, but LaMarcus Aldridge, his high release, his mid-range jumper set him apart, and why he's more than likely he's going to end up I feel Portland might probably retire his jersey because he was that good. And this is a huge blow. Him retiring is a huge blow for Brooklyn. Don't get me. I understand Brooklyn has KD and Kyrie and James Harden and Blake Griffin, but LaMarcus Aldridge can play center better than Blake Griffin, and I think that now, of course, defensively, there's still the whole team sucks, but I think LaMarcus Aldridge's ability to play center and kind of take some of the pressure off of DeAndre Jordan and able to operate and score at that center position was huge. What LaMarcus Aldridge did things that nobody else on the team could do, or nobody else on the team does regularly. Like, yes, Kevin Durant can shoot mid range and score at a high level. So can James Harden. Well, he doesn't really do that, but so can Kyrie. But the fact that LaMarcus Aldridge is able to use angles, and he's money from mid range, and he's a lot better he's a lot better scorer. I'm not saying dunker, but a lot better scorer than Blake Griffin. So that's a huge blow. But shouts out to LaMarcus Aldridge for putting his health above basketball. Like, at the end of the day, I love basketball to death. I play basketball at least 3 or 4 times a week. I love the game of basketball. And I understand, and I'm not even in the league. I don't get paid for it. I understand how tough it is to make a decision to walk away. And I couldn't imagine the decision when you got money on the line. This is your livelihood. And you have to be, I understand the whole basketball lifer, like I understand football lifers and how tough it is for them to walk away, or how tough it is for them to figure out what to do after after football. So I can imagine how tough it was for LaMarcus Aldridge to make this decision. Do I think that he is a Hall of Famer? I don't know. And I'll say I don't know, and I'll stick by that because stats wise, yeah. I mean, he's one of 19 players of all time to, I think, score like over 2,500 points or something like that. LaMarcus Aldridge is a great person, but I think that it kind of goes. Again, I don't know. I don't know. Stats wise, he is, but it kind of goes back to the whole flashy thing, and he wasn't as great as a Tim Duncan, but he did have a great game. So I don't know. And I think it's a little too early to say, but I do want to congratulate LaMarcus Aldridge for making that decision and putting his health over basketball, which a lot of people don't do. And again, he goes down, in my opinion, as one of the greatest Portland players to ever play. I mean, you see Portland legends. You see Damian Lillard. I know Brandon Roy said something. People understand how important LaMarcus Aldridge is to Portland. And honestly, if you're a real basketball fan, people know how good LaMarcus Aldridge was his entire career. Again, LaMarcus Aldridge will go down as one of the greatest mid-range shooters to ever play. Like, I would say, people will call it blasphemy, but honestly, LaMarcus Aldridge's mid-range game is on the same level as like a Carmelo Anthony back in the day. Carmelo, we all know how great, but as it goes back to a loud game versus a more quiet game. Carmelo Anthony has more of a loud game. He's more of a scorer. Of course, he's better than LaMarcus Aldridge when it comes to putting the ball on the ground and shooting threes. But when we talk about mid-range, a lot of people want to look at Carmelo Anthony as one of the greatest mid-range shooters to ever play. I think LaMarcus Aldridge has to be up there, and I think he's made a name for that. And again, shouts out to LaMarcus Aldridge, and I hope that his health gets back to where it needs to get back to. So shouts out to you, and I hope I wish nothing but the best for LaMarcus Aldridge, and it was a pleasure watching him throughout the years. Again, a lot of people that were just casual fans may not know the impact or may not know how good LaMarcus Aldridge was, but true basketball fans and people that have been watching the NBA for as long as he's been in there or as long as they've been alive understand when you hear LaMarcus Aldridge's name, you kind of know how important that or how good he was. That's why a lot of people are upset when they got LaMarcus Aldridge. I understand he might not be in his prime, but LaMarcus Aldridge is still a bucket. LaMarcus Aldridge is still tough. I mean, he has a 56-point game, I believe. He has a whole bunch of 40-plus point games. So for people to say, "Oh, he's a bum or a scrub," and clearly ain't watching him in Portland, because that man and I think he had a 50-point game in San Antonio. So shouts out to LaMarcus, man. Shouts out to him.